Howdy folks, welcome back to Black Mountain. It's finally stopped raining. It rained even more after that last episode. So we're here on day 2 of early summer. And it's looking kind of cloudy, but they're not calling for rain. Let's just bring up the forecast here for you. We're looking pretty good, and we got really good drying today and tomorrow. And they're not calling for rain until tomorrow noonish. So I'm going to pull the trigger. Got the mower hooked up here. And we're going to try to make some hay. See if we can make it happen. Grass is fully grown. Now it is wet. You can see the wet crop icon. So the way I understand it, that means we'll have to ted the grass. Even if you ted it, or even if you don't have to ted it, rather, it does have to dry. It just, if you mow and it's wet, the wet crop icon, you definitely have to ted it before it will dry. That's the way I understand that it works. We'll test that theory. See if that's the way it actually does work. And I don't know what changed, but this little Massey, it really struggles. Not struggle necessarily, but it doesn't just get overly enthusiastic about pulling this rhino around anymore. I don't know what changed. I don't remember it being so slow the last time. So, I don't know. I did go ahead and service the little Massey. I didn't think that would have anything to do with it, but it was getting pretty low on the service, so I did that. And one of the features I really like about Seasons is you can service your vehicle and it's separated from the paint. So we still got this nice patina. You can tell this is a working tractor. Been working up here on the farm. So you can repaint it. It's a separate deal though with Seasons. So that's cool. We got it serviced. Still got that nice patina on it, like it's gotten some use on it. Most farmers I know don't have brand new shiny tractors. Every time you change the oil, it doesn't automatically paint it. So we're going to mow, and then we're going to have to ted, because we got a ton of rain. This grass is a little thicker here where I painted. I just hope we have enough drawing time, because I really don't fully understand. I just haven't the experience with the new Seasons on, like, how long does it take to dry? Don't really know. We're just going to have to find out. But we've got at least a day and a half of drying time, so hopefully that's enough. We can get some hay picked up. One thing I neglected to do this spring was get a silage clamp built. Don't have any weight right now to make silage. And I really don't want to buy or lease a big expensive baler to wrap bales. So I don't know, we might see if we can get some of this mowing done. Might check into getting some concrete slabs put down, just something simple. Where we could cover up the grass with a tarp and get some silage fermenting. We'll see how that goes. I believe I can put grass in the barn and then take said grass back out and make it into silage. But I'm not 100% sure Seasons lets you do that. Alright, let's do this. Let's just get this part. Don't go get the other part. So we've got kind of 3 main areas here to mow. It pulls it just seems slower than it used to. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Plenty fast, 8 miles an hour. That's plenty fast. It's a little slow on the hills. And I don't know why some of this grass doesn't mow. I think it has to do with the fact that it's the map grass, like it's deco foliage rather than actual grass. So I might have to get the grass painting gun out. Do a little touching up here and there. Alright, got that mode off. So, like I mentioned, I think it was in the last video or the video before, I am running the development version of Seasons, so this is like the bleeding edge. And one thing they recently changed, they've been reworking the whole grass hay thing. I think, if I was reading the patch notes right, and they haven't changed it again, with the version of Seasons that I'm running, anytime you mow, you get wet grass, you get this texture. And then when you TED, it's going to change to a different texture, which I think is the old hay texture. And then when it turns to actual Seasons hay, it looks almost like straw. So it's a little different. And this is different than the release version of Seasons. I think they changed that because it was really confusing with the release version of Seasons and the different textures. And sometimes when you mowed, you'd get semi-dry grass, and sometimes you'd get regular grass. And there wasn't good visual feedback. So we'll see how this goes. This that field's done. So let's go mow this field. Cows are doing well. They're putting on weight. Nice. And I'm going to call them cows, even though some are technically bulls. But I'm going to use cow in the generic sense. Oh, okay. Here's a good example of, well, one, I forgot to turn the mower on. This isn't actually grass here. This is deco foliage on the map. So I need to plant some grass there, basically. That's what's going on. Also need to turn the mower on. It works much better when it's turned on. There we go. So we don't actually need to mow that hillside, even though I did clear the trees off so we could, but I forgot the decoration grass. Since I made those changes to the map so we could have some decent looking grass, since I did that, the decoration grass looks just like the actual growing grass. So it gets a little confusing. I'm mowing this slope here. It's a little bit rough. Might need to, might need to get the blade out and might need to smooth that out just a tad. Didn't really notice how rough that was this winter. I wasn't really driving over there. So I'm going to get this all mowed, and I'll bring you back in when we got the tedder going. We'll see how that works. See you in a bit. Welcome back, folks. Got everything mowed. And we're going to work on the tedding now. I forgot just how big this little tedder is. I know I don't have access to that land, but I do have access to this land. And I'm going to run right into my front loader arms, so scooch that out a bit. There we go. Over this way. Try not to wipe out a bunch of equipment. Slide. Yeah, just knock that out of the way. It's all good. So you can see we're throwing what would normally, I think, be hay texture. I believe that is known as semi-dry grass. Can I slide around that? Oh, not very realistic, but we made it. If you pick either one of these, either green or light green, up in the manure fork, I tested, they both say grass. So I believe we have grass and semi-dry grass in Seasons terms. And the semi-dry grass will eventually turn into hay once it's dried enough. And regular grass will actually rot, is what it's supposed to do. But I need to do some testing because my hay bale didn't rot. And maybe I just didn't have it rained on the new version of the map. I forget exactly when I upgraded the map. The map I'm on now, version 2.0, has the snow mask. From what I understand, so. We leave hay bales out, they should rot. If they get rained on, I think, is how that works. I don't know. We're learning. Learning as we go. What I like about this tedder is it flexes. Not all of the tedders actually flex like they're supposed to, but this one does. So it kind of follows the contours of the land. It does a really nice job. There we go. One field down. So I'm going to... Can I sneak through here? I think I can sneak through here without hitting anything. Yeah, we're fine. Perfect. There, not so much though. I have to get a little bit creative here. See if we can kind of pivot around this tree. And that's going to be cutting it a little too close. Back past that tree. The downside of this tedder is maneuvering it sometimes, but I did clear out some of these trees over here. So we'll make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go get this tedding done, and I'll bring you back in for some hot windrowing action. Back in a bit. Well, I spoke a little too soon about the windrowing. I actually need to let this dry into hay, and then windrow it. So I'm going to let this wind blow over it. You can hear that wind ripping through the pines again. And we've got some sun. It's a little bit cloudy right now, but it's supposed to have pretty good drying action. So I'm going to let this dry, and we're going to check on it in the morning. So I will see you tomorrow. Okay, well, it's not tomorrow. It's still today. It dried out really fast. All that wind, and the sun came out a little more. So this is hay. It almost looks like straw, but this is hay. So now I need to get this windrowed, get it in the barn, because if we check the forecast, see if it's updated itself. Yeah, it's more towards like afternoon. But tomorrow afternoon it's supposed to rain again. So luckily this dried out pretty quickly. It gives us plenty of time to get it in the barn before the rain hits. Now, I haven't tested with the dev version of Seasons, but the release version of Seasons, this is the only in-game windrower that works correctly. All the other windrowers will delete grass. A lot of mod windrowers will delete grass, so be careful. This one, however, works. They may have that issue fixed. I haven't tested it, like I said, with the latest version, but if you have the release version, this rake right here works. Because these little front wheels change the main middle windrow to be the correct type. So when these dump in the middle, they're dumping onto the correct type so they don't get deleted. Most of the other windrowers will delete most of your grass because of reasons that I don't want to go into because it's boring. Anyway, just beware. Actually, I don't want to do that. I want to come over here. Got some grass pretty close to the front loader there. Almost a little too close. There we go. Now we can drop down. Let's go around the front loaders. And we should be popping out a nice little row of hay behind us. There we go. I don't think I'm going to have time to get a silage clamp built. So we're just going to do all hay on this cut. Now we should have a cut late summer, early fall-ish. And we'll see if we can get some silage made out of that. Or I can always buy some silage. We need to make some more TMR before that happens. We can always throw cash at it. The logs have been very kind to us, so we're doing pretty well with money so far. I'm going to keep an eye on those beef. I don't know for sure when we should sell those. I don't really know enough about real life cattle prices to even know if Seasons is doing it right. So I think what we'll do is just kind of keep an eye on their weight. And when it seems like they've kind of quit gaining, we'll take them to market. What I kind of wish I had done, and we might do with the next beef we buy, is actually track their weight per day. Like just throw it in a spreadsheet. And then we could get an idea on trends and stuff. Didn't do that. Also thought about making a mod that would automatically do that, but I don't really have time. Little time I have lately has been spent on recording this series, actually. I do stream over on Twitch occasionally, but I haven't been able to do much of that lately either. Work has just been too busy. Summertime, so life's been pretty busy as well. There we go. That's Windroad. Oh, we didn't get this down here. Never mind. It's almost Windroad. You can see our wheat sprouted up down there. I don't think we had any germination problems. So our little test plot's going well. And if you're watching these as they come out, I've actually recorded about 3 episodes here in one weekend, so trying to get ahead of the game because work is going to be pretty brutal over the next month or two. So when I get the chance, I'm going to try to hop on and keep this series going, and I really enjoy puttering around with Seasons, so that's been pretty fun. Now here I had a little bit of regular grass, so I think this will get deleted. Yeah, I think that just gets deleted. No, it's spit it out the back. Interesting. Okay. So much for that theory. You see we're getting nice big windrows. Because it's raking it up like it should. Whoa, that is super rough. We've got to do something about that. I got to try to remember to do that if we get this hay picked up before the grass starts growing again. We can get that ground smoothed out. Might have bounced off that tree a little bit. So we'll get this windroad, and then we'll get the Hoover out. Remember the Hoover? That was a lot of fun. It's sitting over there in the barn, just ready to go. So we can come right down the middle here. I really like this rake. It's very satisfying to use. Whoa. Okay, just ignore the jumping around in midair. And this rake looks like something I would see in a field here around home, so that's nice too. Alright, one more field. Then we're going to start chucking hay in the barn. I need to start driving slower. I get a little crazy sometimes. Farm sim Doesn't really simulate inertia that well. This tractor takes off like a scalded cat. Dock right in there. There we go. Grab some of this. Missed that tree. Perfect. Almost made up for the 2 or 3 trees I already ran into. Pretty rough right in there too. I might need to do a little landscaping around this new cattle pen. Seems to be a little rough. These small fields, there's not really any right way to windrow them, I guess, so I tend to just kind of spiral in and clean up the best I can. We're just going to be sucking this up with the Hoover, so it's not a big deal. Be curious to see how much we get off of here. I think the animal screen, it said I needed like 6,800 liters of food per year for those 4. I don't know if that counts everything, like TMR, hay silage, and grass. So we've got quite a bit of grass just from them grazing. But that sounds doable for those 4 cows, 6,800 liters. I think we should be able to get that off here, right? Interesting to see what we do get. So let's go, and we'll just leave that. Let's just go grab the Hoover and the trailer, and we'll start sucking this up and see what we get. Bounce our way down to the barn here. The seat, I don't think the camera's hooked up to the seat, does it? I forgot I could pull through with this one, just not with the tedder. Left a spot there. There's a cultivator. I didn't show that off last time, but I did buy a cultivator. So we could use it on our little test plot we got going over there. Doing my usual stellar job of backing stuff in. I'm gonna file that under good enough. And we're gonna get the old Hoover here. If you're new to the series, this is a pickup wagon that I have dubbed the Hoover. Actually, I think Mark DuPont might have dubbed it the Hoover, but I now use that term. It's nice because it just fits right on your tractor. And clips right through the barn. And it has a hitch on the back here. It's even got the hose connections. Well, did I add the hose connections? I might have added the hose connections. I don't remember. I've done quite a bit of modifying to this. Hook your trailer on and you're good to go. And I've got the controls set up pretty much like any pickup wagon. Squeeze by there. There we go. Just got to vacuum up some hay. All there is to it. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna have enough hay. That's for sure. But in reading about seasons, I saw where if you leave, I think if you leave hay laying out, it will turn back to grass if it gets wet. And then it can rot once it's turned back to grass, I think. We might have to leave some of this out for an experiment. Is that off my land, or? It must have fallen off my land. I can't pick it up. We've almost got a trailer full, though, just from here. So we're going to have plenty of hay. No problem. Maybe even try selling some if we end up with a bunch of extra. I wasn't sure how much we'd have, so I should have done at least one of these fields just as silage. I got carried away, though, and I turned it all into hay. This is turning into kind of a longer episode. We'll get the first wagon load in the barn, and we'll probably call it. Should be about there. There we go. Turn that off. I'm gonna dump her right here in the barn. Maybe? Oh, I don't have that selected. There we go. I want it kind of out a little bit so it doesn't interfere. Am I set to tip to the back? Yes. Try to keep that out of the barn. There we go. We just barely get the tires over, then we're lined up right. So that's going to bring our hay up to, what? I had like 700 in there, so yeah, we got all kinds of hay. There's 2 years worth of hay off of this field. So that tells me I need more cows. I could probably get another 4 beefs in there, but we'll see how it goes with these beefs. And then we may end up buying even more. Get a little cattle operation going here. But upcoming projects, I need to get a silage clamp so we can start making some silage. Alternatively, could do bales and wrap them. But then I would need some other storage option, you know, to put the bales. And I don't necessarily want to deal with bales because you waste a lot, like we saw where I was feeding the cows, and it sucked up a whole straw bale even though it only used half of it. So I think I'd rather just deal with loose. But we'll deal with that another time. I'm going to get the rest of this hay picked up, and I will catch you all in the next one. Thanks for hanging out as always, and take care.